You are running out of time. Not someday. Right now, as you sit here, another hour of your life has quietly vanished, and you cannot say where it went. You were busy. You were always busy. But busy with what? That is the question that terrified the richest men in Rome. And 2,000 years ago, one man watched them destroy themselves chasing it, and he wrote down exactly why it happens and exactly how to stop it. His name was Seneca, and what he discovered about wasted time is more disturbing today than it has ever been. Picture a man who has everything. Seneca was the most famous writer in the Roman Empire. He was fabulously wealthy. He was the personal tutor and advisor to the emperor himself. When he walked through Rome, people stepped aside. By every measure the world uses to keep score, he had won. And yet Seneca could not shake a single gnawing thought. He looked around at the powerful men who surrounded him, senators, generals, merchants worth fortunes, and he saw something no one else seemed to notice. They were all dying, not slowly, not gently. They were being robbed, one day at a time, and they were handing over their lives with a smile. He watched a man spend 30 years clawing his way to a position of power, only to reach it exhausted, sick, and old, and then die within the year. He watched men schedule every waking minute for other people, saying yes to every request, every dinner, every obligation, until there was nothing of themselves left. And here is the part that haunted him. These were not fools. These were the smartest, most capable people in the known world. If it could happen to them, Seneca realized, it could happen to anyone. It was happening to almost everyone. So he sat down to write a letter to his friend Paulinus, and in it, he asked a question so sharp it still cuts. Why do we guard our money so fiercely and give away our time as if it were worth nothing? You would never let a stranger take your wallet, but your hours? You hand them out for free to anyone who asks. And Seneca was about to explain the terrible reason why. Here is what he understood that almost no one does. We treat time as if it were infinite. Deep down in the place we do not look at, we all secretly believe we will get to it later. The book we will write later. The person we will become later. The life we will finally start living later. Seneca called this the greatest illusion of the human mind. He wrote a line that should stop you cold. It is not that we have a short time to live, he said, but that we waste a great deal of it. Life is long enough. We are simply terrible stewards of it. And then he made it personal in a way that reaches across 20 centuries and lands directly on you. You have felt this. Think about the last time you finished a day and could not remember a single meaningful thing you did. The evening that dissolved into a glowing screen. The weekend that was supposed to be yours, that somehow belonged to everyone but you. The plan you have been meaning to start since you were 25, or 35, or 45, still sitting there, untouched, gathering dust while you tell yourself there is still time. Seneca had a name for people like this. He called them the engrossed. Not lazy, not stupid. Engrossed, swallowed whole by 100 urgent things that do not matter, with no attention left for the few things that do. And he warned that the engrossed man only realizes his mistake at the very end, on his deathbed, when he finally looks up and understands he was busy his entire life without ever once truly living. But Seneca did not stop at the diagnosis. Because he had watched too many people die with regret, he built something, a code, 3 precise steps to claw your life back from the thieves who are stealing it. And the first step begins with a truth most people spend their whole lives running from. Step 1. Stop letting the past and the future eat your present. Seneca noticed that the people wasting their lives were almost never actually there. Their minds were somewhere else. They replayed old humiliations, old arguments, old failures again and again, punishing themselves for a past that could not be changed. Or they leaned so far forward into the future, the next promotion, the next milestone, the day everything would finally be fine, that they missed the only moment they ever actually possessed, the now. Seneca said something radical about this. The wise man, he wrote, is the one who can hold his entire life in his hands, because he lives fully in each present moment. He does not fear time running out. He is not desperate for tomorrow, because he did not waste today. And this is where it gets strange, because modern science has caught up to him. Researchers at Harvard tracked thousands of people throughout their days, pinging them at random to ask what they were doing and whether their mind was wandering. The finding was stunning. People spent nearly half of their waking hours thinking about something other than what they were doing. And here is the twist. The more their minds wandered, the unhappier they were. A wandering mind, the researchers concluded, is an unhappy mind. Seneca knew this 2,000 years before the data existed. The life that is somewhere else is not being lived at all. So ask yourself honestly, where is your mind right now, in the hours you call your own? Because if it is always in the next thing, you are not running toward your life. You are running past it. That is step 1. But it only works if you understand step 2. And step 2 is the one that makes people uncomfortable. Step 2. Guard your time like your life depends on it, because it does. Seneca made a comparison that will change how you see your entire day. Imagine, he said, that someone stole small amounts of money from you every single day. A little here, a little there. You would be furious. You would track down the thief. And yet people allow their time, which is infinitely more precious because unlike money, it can never, ever be earned back, to be stolen constantly, and they say nothing. The colleague who drops by to complain for the 10th time. The argument online with a stranger you will never meet. The 3 hours that vanish into a feed engineered by the smartest engineers on earth to take exactly those 3 hours from you. Seneca wrote, "No one will give back the years. No one will restore you to yourself." Read that again. No one is coming to give your time back. There is no refund. And this is the point most people miss entirely. Being busy is not the same as living. In fact, Seneca argued, the busiest people are often the ones living the least. They fill every gap so they never have to sit with the terrifying question of whether any of it means anything. Busyness becomes a hiding place. And you know this because you have used it. The days you filled with tasks so you would not have to face the thing you were avoiding. The productivity that was really just fear wearing a costume. Seneca's demand is brutal and simple. Start saying no. Protect your hours like a miser protects gold, because the person who cannot say no to small things will never have the time to say yes to great ones. And that brings us to the 3rd step, the one that ties it all together and the one Seneca believed almost no one ever reaches. Step 3. Choose what your life is actually for. Seneca observed that most people never decide. They drift. They absorb their goals from everyone around them. The house, the title, the number, the approval, without ever stopping to ask if those things are even theirs. And so, he gave the answer to the question we opened with. Why do we waste our lives? We waste them because we never chose them. A life without a clear purpose is a life that gets spent by other people, on other people's priorities. But a life aimed at something, a real reason to get up, cannot be stolen because you know exactly what your time is worth and you refuse to sell it cheap. So here is what you can do tonight, not someday, tonight. Take a single piece of paper and write down the answer to one question. If this year were my last, what would I stop wasting my time on and what would I finally begin? Then choose one thing from each list. One thing to cut, one thing to start. Cut it this week. Start it tomorrow. That is the entire code, made real. Because Seneca believed philosophy was worthless if it stayed in your head. It only counted when it changed what you did in the morning. Here is the truth Seneca left us with, and it is the gut punch he wanted you to carry. You will not live forever, but that is not the tragedy. The tragedy is living as though you have unlimited time and waking up at the end to discover you were only ever a visitor in your own life. It is never too late to begin. But it is always too late to get back the hours you have already given away. So guard what remains. Live where your feet are and choose deliberately what all of this was for. If this reached something in you, take one moment and subscribe so the next time your days start slipping away, a voice from 2,000 years ago is here to pull you back because the clock is already running. And the only question that matters is what you do with the time that is left.